Okay, we're going to do a video on how to install Linux Mint 18. I'm gonna be installing it in VirtualBox, just the way you can see everything that's going on. If you need to put it on a USB drive to where you can actually download it to your hard drive, I have another video on how to actually put it on a thumb drive. So let's get started. First thing you're going to need is an actual ISO of Linux Mint. The best place I've found to look for those is on DistroWatch. So once you get into DistroWatch, it loads. If you go over here to the right hand side and scroll down, there's a list of the top 100 most popular or most downloaded Linux distributions. Mint is going to be right here at the top. We'll just click on Mint. And we'll go to their home page. And you've got a few choices between Cinnamon, Mate, XFCE. I'm going to do the Mate. Mate and Cinnamon are pretty similar. I like the Mate better. XFCE is a lot lighter weight desktop. If you don't have a lot of resources in your computer, you could use XFCE. Alright, I'm going to do the Mate edition, so we want to click on Mate. And once it loads, scroll down. It'll give you some system requirements. If you've got 2 gigabytes or less of memory in your computer, you'll probably want to use a 32-bit. I'm going to use a 64-bit. Here's the download links. Just find your country. USA. Any one of these would probably work pretty good. I'm going to go with kernel.org. We're going to save it. Alright, now I've already downloaded this. That's what you got to do to download it. I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to wait the couple hours with my really slow internet to download it, so I'm going to go ahead and exit that. Once you get it downloaded, we can go ahead and exit this. Now if you're going to be installing it in VirtualBox like me to try it, then we'll click New. Name it Linux Mint Mate. Click Next. We got 64-bit. Okay, you can only use half of your system memory in VirtualBox for your guest edition. I've got 12, so I could give it up to 6, but I'm just going to give it 2 gigabytes. We'll click Next. I want to create a virtual hard disk. I want a VDI. We want it dynamically allocated. Alright, I'm going to make it 10 gigabytes. The one thing you'll want to think about here is if you want to install other software into this, you'll probably want to make it bigger than that. I wouldn't guarantee on running any real high-end stuff on here with it being in VirtualBox. And we'll click Create. And we'll go up and click Settings. Click System. I'm going to give it 2 CPUs. I've got a dual core processor. Display. Now the video memory, the most it will let you do is 128 megabytes. It looks good, and if you do run something in here that requires video intensive stuff, I've been told that it has a program that passes through to your video card and will actually run pretty decent. So we're going to enable 3D acceleration. Click on storage. This is where we're going to put in the ISO we just downloaded. So we'll click this little disk that says empty. Come over here beside this, where the disk is, click the drop down, I'm going to choose virtual optical disk file, click it. And Linux Mint 18 Mate 60. This is one we just downloaded, so we'll double click it. That's populated in there. The rest of the stuff is fine. Click OK. Okay, it's ready to start. Now this is going to be the same if you were trying to load this to your hard disk. This is where you would be sticking your USB thumb drive in and powering your system up. To be able to get it to boot to the thumb drive, you may have to press a key and go in to tell it to boot from that. I know on my Dell I have to press F12 and tell it to boot from the thumb drive. So we're going to go ahead and click start. This is where you would be if you were booting it from a USB stick to load it onto your hard drive, or even if you just wanted to do the live version and not affect your hard drive. This is still where you would be at. Okay, it is loaded to the ISO. This is in live mode. It still has not done anything to the hard drive. I'm going to go ahead and put the view in full screen mode. Alright, now if you were running this in live mode off of your thumb drive, this is where you'd be. You would also have a little icon down here for Wi-Fi. This is at the point where you want to actually set up your Wi-Fi so that whenever you're installing this, you will be able to download updates, third-party software, stuff like that. Since I'm running in VirtualBox, it's just automatically connected through my host system's connection. Alright, now if you don't want to make changes to your hard drive, you can play with this to your heart's content. You can go online, do stuff, you can change your wallpaper. You really can't do a whole lot of downloading because this is running completely in memory. But if you want to try it out, this is a good way to try it. We're going to go ahead and install it in VirtualBox. So we're going to go up here. Since I'm already connected to the internet, double click the install Linux Mint. Okay, once it gets up and loaded, we're going to change, select your language. Mine's English, so I'm going to select it, click continue. Okay, I'm going to install third-party software so that you can run a lot of the stuff that needs flash and MP3 and stuff such as that. So we'll click that, go down here and click continue. Okay, now this is the point where it's going to make changes to your hard drive. Whenever you tell it to erase disk and install Linux Mint, and you go through this process, it's going to wipe everything off your hard drive. I mean, there are other options that I don't really recommend doing. You're basically asking for trouble. Just go ahead and click this one. Hopefully you've got a different hard drive than what your main operating system is going to be on if you're wanting to just try this. Anyway, so click install now. Okay, this is where the warning is going to tell you that these are the partitions that's going to be made, and then it's going to make changes to your hard disk. Click continue. This is where we set up our time zone. You can click on different time zones. Right now I'm in Central Time Zone, so it's considered Chicago. Even though I'm not in Chicago, it's still Central Time. Click continue. This is for your keyboard layout. Mine's English US. Click continue. Okay, so we want to use your name. Okay, and create a password. I'm going to do a real easy one. And it tells you this really short unsecure password. It's the same. I'm going to click login automatically, so whenever I log in, it's not going to require my password to log in. I'm going to click continue. And it's going to start copying the files from the disk, the ISO disk that we downloaded, and updates and stuff from the internet also. So this is going to take a while, but I'm going to edit that out, the wait, so that you don't have to sit here and wait through a long time on the video waiting for it. And now it's installing the system now that it's downloaded everything. Okay, at this point it's through doing all this downloading. You can either restart it now or continue testing, which means just playing with it before you reboot. We're going to go ahead and click restart now. You'll want to, when it shuts down, you want to pull your thumb drive out if you're actually loading this to a hard drive. I'm going to press enter because VirtualBox is going to go ahead and remove it for us. Okay, we're rebooted back into this. This comes up. One thing you're going to want to do is, now that you've booted into your system, is go down here in the bottom right corner and turn on your internet, because you have to set this back up again now that you're actually into where you've loaded it. Now if you run it in VirtualBox, it'll already be set up using your host system's internet. Alright. Whenever this pops up, one thing you want to do is click on drivers, especially if you've got a dedicated video card. We'll put our password in. So if you've got an NVIDIA video card or an ATI, this is going to find the proprietary drivers for your video card. Okay, so this is where you would set up, if you had a NVIDIA card, it would be listed in here, or an ATI card, it would be listed in here. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Intel microcode, the VirtualBox guest host. If you're not running in VirtualBox, these won't be here. Go ahead and click apply changes. Okay, and it wants to restart the system, so we're going to click restart. Okay, it's back up now, so we can go ahead and just close this. You should still be connected to the internet if you set it up whenever you first booted back into it. Okay, we're going to go down here. I'm going to right click on the time down here and go up and click preferences. You may not be able to see this from my webcam, but there'll be a bar that says preferences, and left click it, and then you can put this in 12-hour format to where it doesn't say 1502. Click 12-hour. Say this is 302. Alright, you can have it show seconds if you want. For locations, if you want weather on it. For locations, we'll click here, we'll click add. Right now, I'm pretty close to Oklahoma City, so Yeah, this looks good. Alright, and then we'll click OK. Okay, now that we've got that added, we can go in and check weather and change it to Fahrenheit and miles per hour since we're in the United States. Click close. Okay, now we're going to come over here. This menu, this is like the start menu in Windows. So we'll click menu. So if you want to look for something, you just click down here to search. Appearance. Click it. This is one thing that I really like about Linux Mint 18. They've added a Mint wide dark theme. So I'm going to click the dark theme. This is really neat. I like this. Click. So anyway, click the dark theme. I'm going to go to background. So you want to change your wallpaper. You have to give it a minute to load all the pictures that it has pre-installed. So these are the pre-installed pictures. I'm going to click that. You can change whether it's zoom or center. Okay. Fonts and interface we're not going to mess with. Go and close that. Okay, we're going to come down here to this little shield. This is telling you that there are updates, or you need to select. The first time you do it, it's going to give you this option where you have one of three choices you need to make. The one in the middle is probably going to be the easiest one to do because it's going to download most of the security updates, nothing that's bleeding edge that could break your system. If you don't know anything about what you're doing with Linux, you might want to go ahead and click the Don't Break My Computer. I'm going to go ahead and click the Optimize Stability and Security. Click OK. Okay, let's go ahead and download this update right here. So we're going to click it. And we're going to go up here and click Install Updates. You can also click the Select All if you've got quite a few updates. You can click Select All, click Install Updates. Put in our password. Now that we did that, it's got all this list of other updates that it wants to do. Before we do that, let's do this switch to the local mirror to where it will download faster. So we're going to click OK. And you're only going to have to do this once. Password, OK. Now it'll bring to this page. You've got your main and your base. So we're going to click on this, and it's going to start checking the mirrors, and it'll tell you what the download speeds for these mirrors are. Once it gets all the way down to the bottom, then you can just pick the fastest mirror. The flags will tell you what country it's from. Argentina, Greenland. Okay, so it's picked it's tested all the mirrors. So I'll go back up. I'm just going to click the top one for the fastest. Click apply. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing with the base. The base has a lot more mirrors and takes quite a bit longer to do. This may take quite a while for this one. I'm going to edit the weight out to where we're not sitting here waiting for it to go through all these mirrors. Okay, it's got to the end of the list. You know, some of the mirrors say unreachable. So we're going to go back to the top. Just decide which one of the best ones you want to use. I'm just going to go ahead and click the top one. Click apply. Once you do those two, then you need to update the cache. And you'll only have to do this one time. Okay, that finished. So we can go ahead and close this. Go over here to our updates. Click select all. Click install updates. And you may get a warning like this. It says this upgrade will trigger additional changes following 13 packages. Just click OK. Password. It's starting to download. You can watch what downloads. And this will take a little while, which I'll edit it out too, just so that the video is not so long. Okay, it's done downloading all the updates. Now it's going to install the software that it just downloaded. It probably took it 15-20 minutes on my connection to actually download all that stuff. Okay, it's coming up asking you if you want to replace a file. Just go ahead and replace anything that it suggests that you replace. Looks like it's just about done. Alright. It's done all its updating. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Alright, down here you'll see the little shield icon has a check mark on it now. That means that the updates are good on this one. You won't. One thing, Linux doesn't require you to download updates like some operating systems do. You can do this at your convenience. So, for some reason it's wanting to switch to a local mirror again. You should have only had to do this once. I'm not sure why it didn't take the first time. See, this says no action required. So this stuff's all up to date. All the mirrors were up to date. It just was giving you the option if you want to switch again. Alright, system's up to date. Alright, now we're going to go down here and open Firefox. And I'll show you some stuff you're going to want to tweak in Firefox. Alright, whenever you first launch it, it comes to this page. You can change all this stuff just like you can in Firefox anywhere else by going to Preferences. You can, when Firefox starts, start with your home page. I'm going to change the home page to Google. So it's going to be https://www.gogle.com/ okay, search. Okay. Now for your search engine, you know you're not gonna, it doesn't come up with Google. I'm going to show you how to add Google to this here in a minute. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and close that. Click home to where it'll take us to Google. Now whenever you get here, this is how you're going to add to Google, because when you first go to Google, it's going to show up, get to Google faster, switch your default search engine, yes, show me how. So whenever you click this, it's going to open another page, and then this little green arrow pops up right up here, and it explains what it's doing. So we're going to click this little green arrow. We're going to click Add Google. Okay. Now we're going to go back to Preferences, Search, and we have Google. I'm going to unclick a lot of this other stuff to where we've just got Google as the search engine now. Okay, so close a bunch of this stuff. Alright, now another thing I want to show you is, let's find some wallpaper. Let's see. Click images. Okay, let's say we wanted to set this as our wallpaper. So we'll let it load. Normally, if you right click on something, it will give you an option to set as wallpaper, but it doesn't do that in Linux Mint. So what you do is click Save Image As, put it in your Pictures folder, click Save. Alright, we're going to minimize this. We're going to right click on our screen, click Change Desktop Background. Okay, we were here before. This is where the picture we got earlier was from. Now if we want to use the one that we just downloaded, we're going to click Add, and here's the picture. Within the pictures, you've got other things. So as you save pictures to this, you can use this and click Open and click Close, and now this is your background. And if you don't like the way it's set up, you can go in and change it from like stretch to center. Yeah, I like the center. Alright, we'll close that. Alright, let's go down here, click on the menu. We'll go up here. Here's where something you'll want to use quite a bit. It's called Software Manager. So left click it, enter your password, click OK. Okay, you've got all kinds of software in here that you can load. Right, there's 83,355 packages available. All kinds of games, graphics, tools, fonts, education and science. You can search for what you want. So we'll just type in VLC for a video player and hit enter. VLC is a really good video player to have installed. Alright, it says it's already installed, so we're not going to have to do that. Alright, let's go back to categories. You can install Steam. Here's the Steam. There are a lot of really good games on Steam. There are some Windows games that won't run on Linux Steam, like Skyrim. So what you have to do for Skyrim, there's a program called Play on Linux. and it's in the software manager. So you can install Play on Linux. If you want to install Skyrim, World of Warcraft, stuff like that on Linux, you're going to have to do some research and either install it. Play on Linux is what's called a front end for Wine, and Wine is used to install Windows games on Linux. Let's go back to here. You can install Minecraft. Here's the Minecraft installation right here in the software manager. If you just want to search the games, there's 1,970 games, and there's some really neat ones too. You go. Frozen Bubble is a game I like playing a lot. It's just something to kill time, so I double clicked on it, brought it here. We can install it here. You can read reviews, what people say about it. Alright, so that's it for the Software Center. Or the Software Manager. Back to this preferred applications. You go in here, you go to this is where you set up what you would prefer to use, like for a web browser, the video player. We've got VLC, so we're going to change that to VLC. So a lot of things. This is where you just set up your preferences there. We'll close that. If you need Office stuff, these LibreOffice are the open source version of Microsoft Offices, like their Word and PowerPoint and Excel, stuff like that. If you decide you want to put something on your desktop, if you just right click on it, let's say we want to put the LibreOffice Writer. If you right click, you can click Add to Desktop, and it will put it up here on your desktop. So now we've got LibreOffice on the desktop. Right now that's all I can think about, trying to tweak it when you first install it. I'm going to try to do a program or a video on how to install World of Warcraft on Linux Mint. So if you would, I'd appreciate the likes and the subscribes to my channel. Plus it'll give you a chance to find these easier whenever they come up. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.